in trailer number 2, the expectation was Wolverine, but I saw Logan. We got our Deadpool and Wolverine trailer number 2 drop. Go check out YouTube and socials if you want some instant reactions from that. It was spicy. It was good. It got some chef's kiss from the Point 3 podcast. But Hero Scroll, did the Deadpool trailer number 2 heighten your expectations for the movie coming out this summer?
100%. I think I said it in our Discord. So if you're not on there, definitely join us. But yeah, 100%. I think I've gone on record a few times saying I just really wanted to see what this movie kind of looks like more in motion. And the fact that they showed us, and they showed us a trailer that gave us information, didn't give us too much so that we can still kind of speculate like we're doing now, but then also not have all the answers and be like, this is what's going to happen, and this is what's going to happen, and this is what's going to happen. No, it gave us stuff to analyze. It gave us, certain answers to questions we've been asking, but then raised some more. I think this was the perfect trailer for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
How about
I'd
you?
agree with that. I thought it was amazing trailer. It's like you said, the first one got us thinking. Everyone I've talked to and I made the statement to has also agreed with the statement. The first one really makes you think the plot's going one way, and then this one, I have no idea where the plot's gonna go, which is great because Marvel is notoriously known for just revealing everything about the movie in one freaking 2-minute video. So, or they could be fooling us and they gave up the plot straight away. I don't know.
Gentlemen, Point 3 people, I'm having a hard time with trailer number 2. I am not as hyped about this movie as I want to be. And I think I'm definitely tempering and reserving expectations. I know we've talked about this in our Discord where, the amount of comments that are like, oh, surefire $1 billion movie. This is going to be one of the higher rated movies. Look out, No Way Home. All that kind of stuff. I'm not there yet, personally. I think Marvel is very smart with their selections that they've made. But I will say my number one reason why I'm not as excited for this movie as I thought I would be is trailer 1, we didn't really get much Wolverine, right? In trailer number 2, the expectation was Wolverine, but I saw Logan. I saw a suit, no cowl, no mask. I saw Hugh Jackman's face in a bar. I saw Hugh Jackman's face when they're in the desert or the void, whatever that is. I saw Hugh Jackman in slow-mo. I saw Hugh Jackman looking at Deadpool getting licked by a dog in his face. And my fear for this movie is that they revert back to how Fox did the X-Men, and it was very Logan-centric, where his name is Wolverine in terms of how rabid he is as a fighter and a mutant, but not necessarily paying homage to the character of Wolverine. And I thought this would be a really good first stab at the Wolverine character for live action. I just don't see it, and I really don't feel it yet. The only other piece of this is I hope that there are a little bit more connections to the MCU, and there are little snips that I feel they're, the portal ring that looks like it could be Doctor Strange or someone from that time, right? The Ant-Man piece, super cool. The Void, TVA, Alioth, all of those things can hint towards the MCU, but I didn't get a feel that this is going to be set in the MCU. It feels like it's still sitting on the edge for me. And I'm just concerned that this is going to be another self-contained movie that introduces 2 characters, but don't give them kind of a next step like we've gotten through phase 4 and 5. So it kind of just set me on the same path of like, this is today's MCU. I want to wait for the movie. I love trailer 2, but it just seems like it's just not there. Just not there.
Yeah.
They're all valid concerns. I never really thought of like the comparison of like seeing Logan versus Wolverine until you brought it up today, and that got me thinking a little differently on it. But ultimately, I'm, like you said, just gonna wait for the movie and try to be a little optimistic about it, just because it comes out 2 days before my birthday. So,
And I want to throw
Strikes
this.
again.
I want to throw this out here though, because I don't think that means it's not going to be a really fun movie or really good movie. I just think that people are hoping this, like every other movie that has come before this, is going to solve all of the MCU's problems. And really, by saying this, I don't think it's going to solve those problems. I think it's going to be a really good movie to potentially great movie that is going to be Deadpool and Wolverine. It's not going to shoulder the entire load to fix the problems in the MCU that I think people were hoping for with Multiverse of Madness and Love and Thunder. That was a tough time. And this movie, I get vibes that kind of fall in line with what people expected versus what they delivered. And it was never supposed to be anything else, but people made it that.
Yeah. It does feel like they kind of know what they have to do with this movie in certain ways. Because again, this trailer, even though it was perfect, and I still stand by that, it still feels reserved, which is a good thing. So I do think there's going to be a lot of surprises in here. I think the question is, though, are those surprises going to be good? And how much are they going to connect back into the greater MCU? The thing is really that I think people forget is that the MCU has, at least as of right now, has too many problems that only one movie can fix. No one movie can just come in and fix it. And to be quite honest, it's not going to be an R-rated Deadpool movie. And that's not a knock against the movie. It's just more so what we have to remember is that the MCU in general is marketed towards a certain audience, a certain
PG.
younger audience.
Yeah.
Max PG-13. So for an R-rated movie to come out and for it to be such essential viewing for people, and a lot of kids are going to miss it because their parents don't let them, or simply they can't get into the movie theater. It has a ceiling in a way.
Yeah,
it can break through that ceiling, but it still has a ceiling in a way. But the question I wanted to ask you, Lou, that you brought up, because I think it's a nice thing to kind of discuss, especially with the feel of how this movie is, and this can kind of tie into in the what do we want to see next. You brought up the Logan character, right? And we were kind of discussing it earlier today, but not a lot of people realize that Logan, unlike, for example, let's say like Spider-Man, that there is a Peter Parker, and then there's his alter ego, you could say, of Spider-Man. Even though they are kind of one and the same, they are still two different characters. But Logan and Wolverine are so, at least to me, very tied, closely together. So for you, besides the costume, what do you think they need to do to really make this be like, for you, no, this is Wolverine and not Logan?
I think this just goes back to me having this movie feel super. And I think the super aspect is, let's see superheroes do things in their full costume, head to toe. Deadpool's going to have that, right? Deadpool's thing is his mask. Ryan Reynolds and crew, they do a really good job with that. When he's at home base, then you see the crusty head. It's different, right? He's not on the battlefield pulling an MCU where, like in Quantumania, Ant-Man and Cassie show up and Ant-Man's like, Cassie, boop, boop. Why is my face out in the quantum zone? And he's just like, quantum realm. And he's like, are you okay? We should learn how to fight. And it's just like, no. Like, they cut that out. Like, I don't want to see any of that. But from a Wolverine perspective, I want to see that raw, rabid, just the look. Like I want to see him do all the stuff that they tried to do by Logan, but with the cowl on. Like I know it sounds very like what's the word? I'm like minor of an ask, but it's like when you see Spider-Man swinging, he doesn't do it with his mask off. He's got his mask on and he's swinging through the streets in New York. When Wolverine's ripping through 20 or 30 military level grade adversaries, he's ripping through and you see the emotion, the visceral, the growl, the spit coming out of his mouth, because that's the opening part of it. The white of the eyes, you see the ears. Like it's just different when you see him doing that. Whereas when he doesn't have it, yes, Hugh Jackman's really good at what he does, of course. I just see Logan. I see Logan, and that's not the Wolverine that I personally grew up with. And to keep this short, I hope that they give more of a separation of actor and character, because to me that feels like it's Hugh Jackman. Logan is Hugh Jackman, just like everyone says Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Sure, Captain America is Chris Evans. When you saw that and when those connotations came up, Cap never had his helmet on after that. It was gone until they were like fan service moments. That shouldn't be a fan service moment. That should just be the baseline of what it is, in my opinion.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Because I know I said it earlier on Discord, but it does kind of feel like this will be the first attempt that they kind of do for Wolverine with the Logan character.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see the damn mask as well. I am all up in that boat too.
I just want to touch on this real quick too, because you had mentioned it is a good point, because we talked about it, I don't know, what was it, last month or the month before, where James Gunn was saying, one of the things I'm going to do in the DCU is protect secret identities, and people are like, Superman doesn't have a mask. You got to understand the character to really kind of get what that means of who's Clark Kent versus Superman. Why don't people see him? And they're like, don't you work at the Daily Planet?
Yeah.
Batman versus Bruce Wayne. Again, Spider-Man versus Logan, James Howlett, whatever you want to call him, Wolverine. It's not really a secret identity. He doesn't, right? They are one and the same, but I think what we see in like X-Men 97, for example, although Wolverine is kind of a side character almost through 6 episodes, there's the Logan who's the soft Gene, look in my face, the love, that version of him comes out when he's Logan. But when he puts on the suit, dude, that guy's growling and just those adamantium claws are tearing through everything. He doesn't really do that as Logan. However, live action Logan, that's what he did. So it just is odd to me because I don't feel the Wolverine aspect of it yet. Obviously to this point, because we haven't seen a live action Wolverine in a traditional sense.
It's also kind of using that name, the Wolverine name, right? Where this trailer very heavily was like, no, every time they are referencing Wolverine, it's not Logan, it's Wolverine. And I think Fox, when they were, if you watch a lot of them back, every time they reference, it's not really Wolverine. They're always Logan. Deadpool 3 or Deadpool and Wolverine made a point of being, every time we're referring to him, it's Wolverine. It's not Logan.
That's my point, though. I see Logan, but I hear Wolverine. That's my disconnect personally.
And that's why maybe this will be the first one to change it.
Yeah, I hope.
And it's going to take kind of like a training for people, because if you stop, I think, right, if you just put him in the mask the entire time, the people who don't really care about books, which is okay, they're going to immediately write it off. They're going to be like, why does he have that stupid mask on? Or, like others have
exactly
that you said. helmet. Where they have a helmet on, and it's like, no, they're different things, buddy. But they kind of have to toe that line, and it can be kind of hard. So I hope they get it right.
I got one last thing, Spider-Man. I'm curious, they're both of you, what you think about this? Because I thought about that earlier, right? I've been thinking about this way too hard, and I think I'm taking this like more from a personal take, because again, it's kind of like what we talked about with content creation. There's only so many times that we're going to see this combination of characters, and it's like Endgame. Like today really is like perfect storm type of conversations. We only get to a year podcast by doing, like this is the only one we get. My only other concern and fear, and again, this is based on absolutely nothing in an unknown, but knowing that it has ties with the TVA, understanding that TVAs and variants are closely associated, knowing that there may be multiple versions of Deadpool that could be in this movie, and knowing that we saw Patch, who could be a variant of Wolverine, I have a fear that, to your point, Hero, what you had mentioned of like, kind of have to retrain fans to be like, hey, this is Wolverine. It's not Logan. You're here because you know of Logan and you've seen him, 8, 9, 7 times? I don't know. A lot of times. The only way, if I keep telling you it's Wolverine, the flip side is as I keep showing you it's Wolverine. And knowing that we have the potential for variants, is it possible that we get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different versions of Wolverine in the mask, but those are pruned or killed characters in this movie? And it's like Wolverine masked up, gone. Wolverine, he's masked up, Deadpool and Logan Wolverine kill him or something like that. Like does more variant versions of a Wolverine for a one-time only movie kind of water down his first true suited attempt?
Yes. I'm saying that only because they're very, very on the border of already watering down what 2018 Logan did. So if they mix in with just like showing us all these variants of that just one off and die that have the mask on, I'd be very, very upset.
I'm gonna say no.
Oh.
And no, because to me, and it's not a bad thing, right? But Logan Wolverine, from what we've known him, this version, Hugh Jackman, right? Other than the actual Logan movie, has been displayed one way, right? And I think this is your chance to kind of show people that, new people and people who either haven't read comics in a minute or whatever, that Wolverine is more than just Hugh Jackman. Wolverine can be a lot of different things and can have personalities. He can be Patch, which, in theory can look a little silly, but, for certain people that may be like, whoa, why is Wolverine like that? Let me go learn more. And then they realize that, wow, Wolverine is actually more than just, angry claw dude.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it really does feel like at the end of this, regardless of if he is in Secret Wars or not, it's starting to set up the passing of the mental moment. So if you have variants and you have Logan or Hugh Jackman maskless for most of the time and all the other variants masked, it's, to me at least, and depending on how Marvel does it, but you could set up the fact that this is what Wolverine is going to be after. You'll get him here and you might get him in Secret Wars without the mask. But after that, whoever takes it up after him is going to have the mask. So be ready. But enjoy this as well. Here you go. So I don't think it waters it down. I think it just sets up people up and, eases them into it instead of just being like, okay, it's not Hugh Jackman anymore. Also, he has a mask.
Just sparked a new theory for me.
Yeah, early predictions. Let's do it.
So, my theory. main timeline MCU movie Wolverine is in this movie,
Mm,
but has the mask on and we don't know who it is. That's gonna piss me off. But I guarantee they're gonna do some shit like that, man.
okay.
That would be a bold choice. And I would like it because Marvel hasn't done anything bold like that in a hot minute.
You, you
Possible.
you're on my thought track. You're on my thought track to where if the variants are the same and they're all Hugh Jackman, that sets up a massive problem for the future of the mutants because you're like, then all of you have to look alike, even though we know all Spider-Men don't look the same, right? Tom is different from Toby, Toby's different from Andrew. They're all Spider-Man, but they look different. It would be genius if they had different actors who are Wolverine. Now, for me personally, I'm bought in because I'm like, okay, good. You're keeping Hugh Jackman and that version of Logan separate. And maybe we do get all those theories of like a Daniel Radcliffe or a Charlie Hunnam or whoever they can get, even if wow, this is terrible that I'm Henry Cavill. Someone, if they're coming in and they are versions of Wolverine, all badass, fine, all day long. Give me that. Because now anyone can be Wolverine. And now I'm going to be looking at Wolverine slightly different of saying that was a version and an interpretation. These ones are going to be different as well. So I will give you that from a theory standpoint of yes, fine. It won't feel watered down if they're different, but I do think that there is a carryover version that gets hinted at that could be kind of the prototype for the 616. But I do think the Hugh Jackman version does carry over to Secret Wars or at least Avengers 5. I don't know if he'll make it through both. And again, we have to take into consideration how extremely hard it is to kill Wolverine. So unless it's an incursion and some universes clashing together, good luck. But yeah, I guess from an early prediction, it's something that everyone's been saying, but I kind of hope that they do. I hope we get an incursion from the standpoint of something he didn't do that caused his world to collapse. And we finally see for the first time the effects of an actual incursion so that it can set up future versions of that for the main 616 Earth.
Yeah, I agree. I saw a lot of people talking about there's a specific moment in the trailer where he's like kind of in a field, there's like a bunch of tombstone looking things. And a lot of people, from what I saw, were speculating that's an incursion. But it doesn't feel like what they've shown us a world that has had an incursion. No. To me, that more feels like Cassandra Nova being in his head or a flashback of some sort.
100%.
And I think they're saving the incursion. I think we will see. I do think ultimately him failing his universe, it means an incursion. And I think we will see it. And I think we'll see two, to be honest. I think the Void is kind of going to have an incursion. That's my early theory. That something's going to happen.
Like if it gets like too populated with too many powerful
people.
No,
I don't know if that way. It could be, maybe. But to me, it's more because Eliath serves that purpose of destroying, what shouldn't be there. So to me, it might be more so that I feel like this is going to be a little multiversal.
I agree.
You're not going to have like 3 different worlds, but I do think you'll at least have like 2. And ultimately, I do think Deadpool is going to lose his world. And I think that'll be the one that we see.
Yeah, I could see that world being pulled in. Like Cassandra Nova is powerful enough to either like pull worlds into the Void or have some sort of like massive purge machine or technology or something like that. Like it's going to look janky. It's going to look Mad Maxy. It's going to look like it's put together, but by some of the smartest people using any resource that they have. Yeah, I could see the Void being the big fallout area. Weird. I'm just going to throw this out here. I know we were coming up on time and we still have our deep dive to get to, but Does it feel weird to you guys? And I haven't heard anyone talk about this, so this is fresh. Does it feel weird that we're going to have TVA and Void and Alioth, but no Kang?
Just a little bit. I'm still, it still feels weird that we're gonna have TVA in it because obviously of Loki too, and we don't know exactly what TVA this is. Like this could be. I've seen some theories about this being a potential TVA that wants to like regain control from like the old Kang ways and not like the Loki 2 ways, but that seems really complex and kind of crazy when you factor in whole multiversal timelines and how anyone knows where anything is. I don't know. I'm still very confused with certain aspects of how this movie's going to be,
Mhm.
like timeline wise, multiversal wise, void wise. And there should definitely be like a Kang, especially with TVA and Alioth involved.
That's the weird part. I don't think we're going to get any Kang. Anything you would assume at this point. But if anything, we get maybe Ravonna Renslayer. Because that's where she ended up last by that point. And
Yeah.
something was approaching her. Maybe that's the route that they go now instead of Kang.
I was gonna say it could be her. I wouldn't be surprised also if they lean more into Loki seasons 2 ending where the timelines are just everywhere now.
Mm,
And we start to see kind of the worlds colliding a little bit, and this Alioth be something else entirely from a different world.
Mm. It was a little more
Like from
purple than the other Alioth, I believe.
they're very similar from what I looked
I
up.
haven't looked
They're
at
very,
any
very
side by
similar.
side.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they start leaning into those ties because at this point it'll be what, 7-ish months since Loki. So it's about time that, the next big multiversal project kind of starts bringing in those references and kind of connecting the dots. And I think doing something like that would be cool, even if they're like, hey, the worlds are just bleeding into each other. We don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alioth just shows up. You could do a Renslayer tease, and I think it would be cool. But ultimately, with the way these two phases have been, Kang's been here so little that it really doesn't. It feels weird because he should be there, but at the same time, I don't think his presence is missed as much.
Mm.
I have one final honorable mention theory that sparked into my head.
Hit it.
My friend had brought this up to me on a call before the episode and came up with, what if Cassandra Nova kind of is the new Kang? She's powerful enough to want to seek after like different multiverses, and she could be just wanting to go after every Xavier and slash or now Deadpool's in existence. And that would be a cool way to kind of like have her and then still have someone else like Doom behind the scenes in the future.
I like it, and it would work if the X-Men were already here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But since they're not, it just feels like she would kind of be a random insert for Kang.
Yeah.
Mm.
So if the X-Men were here, I could see her being like a multiple movie villain. And I think she could probably fit very well into that slot, but not here. Not at this current time, at least.
The only thing that I'm thinking that they would really do, they could do, and I kind of wish that they maybe would do, is for whatever reason, there are some kind of loose threads that they could tie together. And in my head, I'm thinking, I go back to 838, Multiverse of Madness, Incursions. you have some 616 people that really meddled across the multiverse in a lot of different ways. And ultimately, Xavier was killed by Scarlet Witch. We don't know where the Scarlet Witch is. Cassandra Nova wouldn't know where Scarlet Witch is at this point. She could be anywhere. Is it possible that she just wants to take revenge on the Sacred Timeline because they're the ones that ended up ruining so many different things, and that's the solution to the saving of the universe is to get rid of 616? And the TVA is like, listen, you have to protect the Sacred Timeline, because if you don't, here we are. Why did they choose Deadpool specifically? Maybe he was that I haven't figured out, but I could just see her being someone who's like, I just want to erase, which is kind of a continuation of Loki, which is where I kind of run into a wall with some of these theories. How original is it really going to be? And if it is really original, does it connect to anything at all? I'm sitting here on a podcast. We're sitting here on a podcast. We're not in the room. We didn't make the movie. So obviously there can be a difference, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was attack on a timeline, or they're put in the future and she's trying to go back and destroy something in the past, like Terminator style.
I like it, and I could see it mainly because of Paradox, which I think not a lot of people talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly something, and Paradox, at least a time paradox, is something that shouldn't really happen, but is. So I could see them being the case. Like maybe after Scarlet Witch came and destroyed, the Illuminati of 838. 838 is meant to just die. And very well, we could be in 838 now. And then, Cassandra Nova trying to really hold it together and seek revenge. It could be a thing. I'm interested to see where the plot goes. Yeah. I think there's not a lot that we know about it.
Yeah. Last thing, I just hope that they don't go the Marvel's route with Dar-Ben being like, you wronged me, so I need to hurt your planet because you hurt my planet, but I need to save my people. I hope it doesn't go that route, and like her motivations are going to matter. How quickly can they build that? I could just see them positioning her, though, as a character who's supposed to be doing good, but for whatever reason, the TVA deems her as something that needs to be purged, and somebody's got to go do it. So here you go, Deadpool.
Make her full on villain.
I prefer that. I prefer.
One final thought. I just want your guys' opinion. Our last theory question, are we going to see a main 616 character in this movie? I'm not talking about a variant. Variants don't count, because I think we will see a variant. But I mean, are we going to see Benedict Cumberbatch 616 and Doctor Strange, or anybody else in this movie?
You're not talking about like archival footage or whatnot, because they had that one, what is it? From the first teaser, they had Deadpool seeing all those like old Avengers moments and stuff. You're not talking about that, right?
No, I mean like they interact currently.
I feel like yes, just because like they gotta have something special up their sleeve to really spread some rumors and tea, And if they really want to connect to the MCU, there's no other way. There's no better way to do it than having someone from the freaking main MCU in there for a second. Like, I'll just be not chef's kiss if they do that. If they don't do that.
Does it count if the characters existed in Loki? Because technically that's outside of 616, but it's like a main, like it's associated with being a main MCU show.
Who are we talking about? Like who?
I'm just talking about like Bashful Loki, Kid Loki, Alligator Loki.
Dude, I want to see Mobius again.
Even Mobius.
That'd be great.
Do those count?
I'd count anyone from the TVA.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's like a point, like a full send is 1, and that's kind of like a halfway send. Like it's kind of like a cheap way to do it. Like a core character though, no, maybe at the end in like an end credit scene, like if Doctor Strange were to show up and be like, I need you, blah 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 blah, I'm sure. If they do it right though, and they do it cool, and they pull them straight to the Secret Wars battlefield, whatever they may be, that would be something I'd be hyped for. I'd be like, oh damn, here we go. Like you guys are going A to B.
I don't know why. And it's not just because of the portal scene in the trailer. I just really, really feel like Doctor Strange is going to be in here. Because he's one who could easily be inserted into this project and, one, not feel out of place, but also two, have chemistry with Deadpool, I feel like. Because right now, if you were to just bring in Anthony Mackie into Deadpool, feel a little weird. But I feel like Doctor Strange, it feels like Doctor Strange could fit in here. And I feel like they're going to find a way to stop the incursion. And Strange is going to show up. And Strange is going to show up.
What is, wait, what is this? Is like an incursion that freaking Koya is taking them to?
I don't think it's that one, because she said it was her home dimension. I feel like I think he's going to find out, and he's going to be like, I need you because you did something that I can't.
Couldn't that be Wong?
No, but yes, but no.
No, don't be Wong. Like, definitely don't be Wong.
It could be, but it shouldn't be.
Come on, you get Wong and Madison rolling up.
Yo, if Madison shows up though, I'm popping off hard. I won't lie.
I'm just saying, don't sleep on her. Maybe she's got the sling ring and she's like, "What's up, Madison? What's you?"
She's like, "I need you guys."
Yeah,
actually.
We're all out of chips. The portal thing is messing. This is a shout out to Marvel for doing that. That was just enough for you to be like, it could go anywhere. Theory crafting for the next 3 months. Like, I don't know. It's tough. My heart in my head says something different.
Hype level. Before we transition.
8.
Right, Brenda.
Oh.
JK. 8? 8 out of 10?
Yeah.
Fair.
We're going 8-4. Sounds right.
I'm at a 10.
Ooh.
Guys, you're at a 10? That felt like a 2.
I'm at a 10.
I will be at a 10 by the time this movie comes. I definitely will be at a 10. Like this, we talked about it on Discord. This has a chance, if it does cross that $1 billion marker, this movie can make a lot of history. And I'm rooting for this movie. We are rooting for this movie. I think a lot of people across the world are rooting for this movie to be impactful and just be that kind of, square peg in a round hole kind of thing of like, I am here. Like, we've arrived, right? We're going to shake this up. We're going to change the game. Things are going to be different. Like, jump on the roller coaster. I don't care if you're complaining. I don't care if you loved it. Doesn't matter. Everyone pile in and let's just shoot this thing down the road. I think they have a really good mindset and mentality. I'm hyped for that. It's just, we'll see. We'll see with the greater MCU pieces. That's my biggest thing I'm waiting for.